She's my tranquility. Let's see.
I need to know why I continue to date my father. Like, why do I date my dad over and over and over again and not learn my lesson? Okay, and not what you're thinking, not that. I don't date my dad.
Okay, so this is not that unusual. It's actually extremely typical, right? The same applies to both genders. Guys want to date their mom, and girls want to date their dad. This is a very, very typical thing, and it makes perfect sense when you really break it down. Psychologically speaking, what we seek in partners as a male or as a female, we typically get from our fathers or our mothers. Let's start with the young boy. The mother is always there with unconditional love, taking care of the little things that you don't seem to have time for. Packing your lunch, washing your clothes, all these little things while you're out there focusing on playing or building your fantasy dream fort or whatever you want to call it. Later in life, you're always going to want to seek somebody that'll provide a similar benefit to you, even in adulthood. The same is true for women. A father provides protection, authority, and discipline. A girl's father is typically the first man that she admires and respects. Later, when we get older, it's entirely natural to seek out the characteristics that our mother or father had in our partners. People often describe the feeling of being someone with similar characteristics to their parents as something that's natural and familiar. Those feelings bring them comfort and reassurance. Some people will obviously shame that to be weird, but it's one of the most natural things ever. It's not weird at all.
I date guys that are the spitting human being of my father. And I guess it's not a bad thing. I love my dad. I mean, I think he's a great dad for me, but he has a lot of undiagnosed issues up in the brain. The narcissism is unreal. I mean, he's actually obsessed with himself, like legitimately.
Well, he got your mom somehow, and likely your mom likes him, even though he has those issues. Just the same way for you, you're probably going to like a guy that has those same issues. Now, when we talk about these issues, right, they very clearly present some form of advantage. Otherwise, the issue would have to cease to exist. This is the main thing that people don't want to recognize with these issues. Yes, these things can cause problems in social environments, relationships, or whatever, but obviously it has an advantage. Otherwise, you'd be forced to get rid of this trait as you get older. How I see it is these traits have some sort of survival purpose, as they wouldn't exist on their own for no reason.
And it comes off as like cocky, but he's so vain. And I always hated that. Like, we were getting ready to go to a party. The girls, my mom and I would be done, and my sister, and we'd all be like, come on, dad, like, let's freaking go, bro. And he'd be standing up there like plucking his hairs out of his face and making himself look pretty. We always like, all of our boyfriends, my sister and I, have always made fun of like how long it takes my dad to get ready because he's so pretty. And I can't stand guys who are like that, like the vain energy. And I see my father in everyone that I like and I have an attraction to. And I guess it's not a bad thing because my dad is not a bad person. He's great work ethics. He can build anything, fix anything. I love that. And I always love that quality about a guy. But at the same time, my mom sometimes deserves better. And
So this is where a lot of girls are entirely delusional, because everything she said up to that point, there's obvious benefits to all of it. It's just that she's not willing to accept the downsides. There is no perfect man, okay? There is no pretty man that isn't vain, that knows how to fix things, but doesn't, it's all, you want it all, essentially, right? To say that your mom deserved better is sort of stupid. In the end, we all get who we deserve one way or the other. So it's just not true. Being vain in that way is definitely a feminine characteristic, and that's probably the part of it that you don't like. But at the same time, you also like the pretty boy. So if you want the pretty boy, chances are he's going to be vain on some level. That's just how it goes. Being attractive and taking care of yourself takes time and effort and energy, right?
the way of like just listening and like caring and being compassionate. He has none of that. For me, he has everything in the world, but for like my sister and my mom, he has none. Zilch. So it's like, what? Why do I keep seeing you over and over and over?
There's likely a reality behind that, because if he was truly a full-blown narcissist, he would act the same way towards everybody. The fact that he acts differently towards you versus your mom and sister, there's probably some secret reason behind it that he's never going to say. It's sort of the same concept like parents having favorites. Every parent has a favorite son, daughter, grandson, whatever it may be, cousin, grandparent, right? Everybody has favorites. Now, obviously, you don't want to say it and create some sort of awkward dynamics. Once people know the truth, it can make them feel weird. So, people typically don't say these things, especially if you're a parent. You're not going to tell your 5-year-old kid that he's your favorite when you have 2 more kids underneath. It just doesn't make sense to do that, right? It'll create a instability in the household. But you always have your secret favorite. That is how it goes. There's a lot of gaps in her story, so there's a lot of little details that are missing here that probably explain the full truth of what's going on. But to summarize, she likes the pretty boy, but she doesn't want to deal with the problems that come with the pretty boy. Nothing in this life is free. That is just how it goes. You can't have all of the benefits with no downsides. It's exactly like buying a car. You're not going to buy a 2-door sports car and expect it to carry a bunch of stuff for you or tow things. It's not what it's for. That particular model is made to be driven with pleasure, and that's it. If you want to carry stuff, buy a truck, buy an SUV. All this is just build a man workshop, right? You want all the benefits without any of the takeaways. You want all the good parts and nothing that comes with those good parts. I just don't understand why people are so delusional about this. You can't have a person that's extremely beautiful and not expect any downside from that. Their whole life, they've been told how pretty they are. And obviously, they're going to have some level of ego attached to that because it's probably true. With that comes an inherent value. It doesn't matter whether it's justified or not, or it was given to them by somebody else. Like everyone tries to always make this into some sort of moral conundrum, right? I think it's important to just remove the morality from it and look at it objectively. Good-looking people have an advantage in life. That's how it goes. Is it a good thing if they put all of their value behind that? Probably not, but you have to expect that they're going to walk around a little bit more expectation than a person that's average looking. It's not really a pleasant reality, of course, but it is what it is. This girl has extremely high standards. Deal with it. If you have high standards and you want the pretty guy, deal with the trade-offs. Stop complaining about it, okay? Your dad got your mom for a reason. I guess she was willing to deal with the trade-offs. Just because you live in the modern era does not mean that you don't have to do the things that women did in the past. Women in the past did exactly that. They took something of high value and they just dealt with the price. Okay, they were willing to pay the price. Modern women, they are not willing to pay the price for anything. They want the top model at a discount price. Doesn't work that way. If you like this video, like and subscribe. If you want to see more of my private content, don't forget to check the link in the description below.